We are back. We are on chapter 8, and chapter 8 is thinking in a certain way. Let's dig into it because I know he gives you some homework right off the bat. He says, homework, this is what I want you to do right now. Turn back to chapter 6, reread the story of the man who transformed a mental image of his house, and you will get a fair idea of the initial step towards getting rich. So right now, go back to chapter 6, and it's the last couple paragraphs in chapter 6, and reread the story of the man and his house and how he formed that mental image of what he wanted his house to be and look like. So pause this video and reread that right now, and I will still be here. You're back, and let's get going. Wallace says, you must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. So listen to this. What did you learn when you reread that story? What do you think the idea would have? What do you think the power would be in that story that Wallace was talking about? Listen to this. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. What is Wallace talking about? What is the great power the man possessed in that story back in chapter 6? Let me tell you. Right now, I want you to write principle number 5 on top of this chapter. And principle number 5 is imagination. This is what Wattles is talking about in this chapter. You have to imagine what you want. Make sense? He says, you must have it before you can receive it. Listen, you must have it before you can give it. And many people fail to impress the thinking substance because they have themselves only a vague and misty concept of things they want to become, to do, or to have. You see, when you talk to most people, so even in my profession, when I talk to most people, this is 100% true. Most people are only vague on what they want, their desires, their passions, their dreams in life. They're so vague, but when you know the power of these concepts, that's exactly what they get back into their life. See, when you're vague, your imagination is weak because you're not thinking, you're not imagining what your life would be like, and you hold that constantly in your imagination. He says, going back, you must form a clear and definite mental picture on what you want in your imagination. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it for yourself. You have to have the idea yourself in your imagination before that idea would become reality. And he continues, it is not enough that you should have a general desire for wealth to do good with. Everybody has that desire. Everybody has that desire. He says it's not enough that you should have a wish to travel, see things, live more, and etc. Everybody has these desires. He states, and highlight this in your book, you must know what you want and be definite. You must know what you want and be definite with it. Throw away all these vague ideas. Be definite. What do you want? And form that in your imagination. Be clear and concise. He says, go over your desires just as the man I have described went over his house. So you just read it back in chapter 6. Go over what you want. Go over your desires the same way that man did. See just what you want and get a clear mental picture of it as you wish. As you wish it to look when you get it. See, what he's saying is you have to be definite, concise. You have to be very specific in your imagination. Anything you want, be very specific. See, remember the story in chapter 6, the guy with the house. And in the beginning, he was only really vague, like with the carpet. But once he got the carpet, he started thinking, there's some truth to this. So what did he start doing? He started getting really more specific on what he really wanted. He started getting more detailed and thinking about it in his imagination. And sooner or later, months passed, and it started to transform into his life. It started to happen. And he continues and he says, spend as much of your leisure time as you can in contemplating your picture. He said, spend as much of your leisure time as you can contemplating your picture and your imagination of your lifestyle, of your dreams, of your passions, that new car, those vacations. Spend as much time as you can. And he says, unless your desire to get rich is strong enough to hold in your thoughts to the purpose, as the magnetic pole holds the needle of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. That's so powerful. What he's really saying here, if you really desire your dream life, if you really desire to make your dreams, your passions, your desires, your wants to become reality, what he's really telling you, you would do everything he says in this book. You wouldn't put this book down. You would constantly apply it to your life. But he's really meaning that most people are vague. They want immediate gratification. They want something for nothing. They read the book and say, that's an okay book. But they don't do none of the homework. They don't read it over and over again. They don't apply it to their life. So my question to you, how bad do you want your dream life? How bad do you want your passions? How bad do you want your desires? How bad do you want to live a fuller life? How bad do you want it? Because at definiteness, that how bad you want it, it will motivate you to do these exercises. To do everything I'm telling you. He continues, the more clear and definite you make your picture, the more you will dwell upon it. Listen to this. This is what we've been talking about. The more clear and definite you make your picture and your imagination, and the more you dwell upon it, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. This is such a strong paragraph. Highlight this. I'll read it one more time. The more clear and definite you can be in your picture and your imagination of what you want, and the more you dwell upon it, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. And he continues, behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it. He means must be belief. You have to believe, have faith in it, to bring it out in a tangible expression. And behind this purpose must be an invisible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours, that it is at hand, and you have only to take possession of it. He says, live in that new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. So no matter what your goals are, your dreams, your aspirations, your desires, he says, live in that dream house mentally until it takes forms around you physically. Drive that new car mentally until it takes the forms around you physically, until you have it physically, no matter what that passion is. He says, live in the new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. And in the mental realm, enter at once into the full enjoyment of the things you want. Get excited about it. See, this is one thing I notice with adults, and especially the older that we get. We lose our excitement for life. We don't get excited or emotional about things anymore. We're almost like unemotional robots. When we go to a movie and see one of our favorite movies that came out, we're hardly excited. We're just like, okay, we're just going with the flow. Be excited. And maybe that flame went out in you as a little kid because you got disappointed and stuff. That most of the time what happens. We got disappointed early in life, and that disappointment was over and over and over, and we just threw in a towel. Most of the time, that's exactly what has happened. Then as we become older in adult life, the only time we get excited, the only time we get emotional about anything is when something negative happens. But remember, what you focus on, you bring about. What you're emotional about, you bring about. Always remember that. And you continue. He quotes this right from the Bible. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. Look at the Bible as a spiritual book. Don't get caught. If you don't believe in God, don't get caught up into all these man-made religions. Look at it as a spiritual guide. Listen to this. Whatsoever things ye ask for when we pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Listen to this. This is ask, believe, receive. Right from the Bible. What says? Whatever soever things ye ask for when we pray, believe that ye receive them. Belief. When we pray, believe you're going to get it. And ye shall have them. See the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. Listen to this. See the things that you want that they were actually around you all the time. See yourself owning and using them. See, in your imagination, you have to see yourself. If you want your dream house, you have to see yourself living in that dream house. You have to see yourself walking through that dream house. You have to see yourself sleeping in that dream house. You have to see yourself having parties in that dream house. That makes sense? That's what he's talking about. Make use of them in your imagination, just as you will use them when they are tangible possessions. Exactly what I'm saying. Make use of them in your imagination, exactly how you would use them when you own them physically. Draw upon your mental picture until it is clear and distinct. Then take the mental attitude of ownership toward everything in that picture. Take possession of it in your mind in the full faith that it is actually yours. Hold to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. Woo. Now I want to share a secret with you right now. And this is what I do. And he's been talking, in this chapter, he's really been talking about faith. Have faith in different forms. And he's been talking about belief in different forms. But you know the magic? You know the magic I'm going to share with you right now? They mean the same thing. See, when we talk about have faith in something, what I'm really saying, believe it. The two words mean the same thing. If you have faith in something, you believe it. If you believe something, you have faith in it. It means the same thing. But see, this is a secret I'm going to share with you. See, I interchange these words because sometimes we hear the word faith so much that it goes in one ear and out the other. We don't even know what it means anymore. So if someone says, for example, even Wattles in this book, if he says, have faith that you're going to achieve your goals, your desires, your dreams, and passions in life. You might be like, okay, Chad, oh yeah, have faith, yeehaw. But I'm going to tell you, believe. Believe. You can have all your desires, passions, dreams, and all your wants in your life. Believe it. It means the same thing. But see, if you use them in different ways, it's more powerful to you. See, you have to learn more about yourself. I know thyself. You have to know your triggers. What triggers you? See, the word faith, it might not trigger you, but the word belief might trigger you. Wattles continues, and he says, and remember what I said in chapter 7 about gratitude. He flips gratitude right back in this principle on imagination. He says, be as thankful for it all the time, and as you expect to be when it was taken form. Listen to this. Be as thankful for it all the time, as you expect to be when it has taken form. This is the same stuff we've been talking about in the chapter of gratitude and the chapter of imagination. And I'm glad that Wattles brings this up. See, as we're imagining and going specific on that dream house, and I'm using this as an example. We all don't want the same thing. Okay? You have to put in what you want. But I'm using this as an example. As you're imagining that dream house, you're living in that dream house mentally. You see room for room. You see yourself having parties. You see yourself taking showers. You see yourself watching TV, inviting people over for the Super Bowl. You see your cars down in the garage. You see your yard. You see everything. You live there mentally. Very specific. Then what Wallace says about gratitude, he says, be thankful for it. Be grateful for it. Start thanking God for it. If you don't believe in a higher power, you just thank you. Be grateful for it. That's what he's saying. Be grateful for it before it transforms into reality. That's the power of gratitude. And he continues, you do not make this impression by repeating strings of words. You make it by holding the vision with unshakable purpose to attain it. And with steadfast faith, belief, you will attain it. The answer to prayer is not according to your faith while you are talking about it, but according to your faith while you are working. Listen to this, and I'm going to change the words here. He talks about faith. I'm going to interchange it with belief, and you see how it works. The answer to prayer is not according to your belief while you are talking, but according to your belief while you are working. He's talking about take action, do it. See, we want to talk about something, philosophize about something. He's saying take action. Read it one more time. The answer to prayer is not according to your belief while you are talking, but according to your belief while you are working. See the power of me interchanging these words? It means something different to you. I read it both ways. And I like this phrase, I like this little quote he says. In order to get rich, you do not need a sweet hour of prayer. You need to pray without ceasing. What does this mean? I'll read it one more time. In order to get rich, you do not need a sweet hour of prayer. You need to pray without ceasing. What does he mean? See, most people who are religious, they think they only talk to God on Sunday when I go to church. Then all the rest of the week, you forget about it. That's what he's talking about. You only pray on Sunday. All the rest of the week, you forget about it. He's saying, pray without ceasing. What's that mean? You constantly pray. You constantly give thanks. You're constantly grateful. And by prayer, I mean holding steadily to your vision. Listen to this. This is what Wattles mean. He said, by prayer, I mean holding steadily to your vision with the purpose of causing its creation into solid form and the faith, belief that you are doing so. And he quotes again from the Bible, believe that ye shall receive. Believe that ye receive them. That's exactly what it says. See, when I started years ago, when I started studying the Bible, and I studied the Bible for years, but I started looking at more of a spiritual text, universal laws, I was amazed. Listen to this. I was amazed, New Testament, even Old Testament, but New Testament with Jesus, I was amazed how much he preached on universal law. It starts kind of opening your eyes a little bit upon a higher power, let me tell you. He continues at the end, on the last page. He says, think and speak of all the things you have asked for in the terms of actual present ownership. Wow, this is something we really need to talk about and I'll bring up. Think and speak of things you have asked for in terms of actual present ownership. How many times does someone ask you, and I'm trying to think of a great example, and you say, someone asks you, what do you do for a living? Or what do you want to be? And the answer is, and adults do this today. When we do seminars, sometimes it's my seminar, sometimes I'm involved with a seminar, and sometimes I'm a participant in the seminar. But observe and listen what people say. They say, well, I like to be wealthy and rich. I like to own this house. I like to go on these vacations. But what is Wallace Wattles saying? He's saying, Think and speak of all things you have asked for. Think and speak of all things, your goals, your desires, your passions, your dreams in life. Think and speak of all things that you have asked for in terms of actual present ownership. You think and speak of them like you actually own them because you're working your imagination. Then you're taking a step farther. You speak and think of it as you actually own it. It's not that you're trying to do this or you do it. It's not that you're trying to have it, you have it. So much power here. Imagine the exact environment and the financial condition you desire and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. Listen to this. Imagine the exact environment and financial condition you desire and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. And I'm going to end this chapter with a short paragraph. Remember that it is faith, belief, and purpose in the use of your imagination which make the difference between the scientist and the dreamer. And having learned this fact, it is here that you must learn the proper use of your will. And I'll let you meditate on this chapter, and I will see you in the next unit.